There we go. Hello, it's Trevor Emden here, aka the Wizard of Wisdom. And in this short video about how to use the law of attraction, I've subtitled this A Tale of Two Guitars. Look, I want to show you something. When I was 15, I bought this guitar off a friend. Okay, hold it up a bit so you can see. And it's beautifully beaten up and so on. It still sounds lovely. Beautiful, right? But it is a lovely guitar. And I was a few years later. I was in my early 20s. I started playing in some local acoustic music clubs and what we call folk clubs in those days. And this guitar just didn't pass muster. It wasn't up to the standard of what other people were playing, and I didn't feel I was up to the standard of what other people were playing or how well I would like to play. So much as it feels to me now like an old teddy bear or something. It's gorgeous. I love it. Won't get rid of it. Still play it sometimes, and it has a unique tone that I like. But one day, I was walking past my local music store, and in the window, I'm coming back, was this beauty. Now this was and still is my dream guitar. Okay, so now, when I got this guitar, which for those of you who may love guitars, you may recognize is an Ovation Classic, and I don't see too many of them around. There are a few guitarists I know, famous guitarists who sometimes play them, but they're not that common. And it was it was much more expensive than I could afford, and it was several months' salary. Somehow I borrowed the money and got it. And I always remember the flatmate that I had at the time when we went to collect the guitar. The shop was walking distance from where we lived. Could not believe that anyone would spend so much money on something you couldn't eat. So he had to come with me just to see me hand over this money and bring that guitar home. And so the story I want to tell you today, the reason for telling you that story isn't because it was like, wow, look, I attracted this guitar, or I attracted the money, because A, I'd never heard of the law of attraction in those days, and B, I don't think I did. I didn't feel like that about it. It's not about attracting the instrument or the money. It was about what happened to me afterwards. Because when I got that guitar home, and I stretched my finances to get it, but I also stretched my musicality, because I didn't feel worthy of that beautiful instrument. That's a guitar that costs, it's a four-figure sum, okay? Even today, it's a very expensive guitar. And I didn't feel worthy of it. I didn't feel like, I thought, what, with what I can do, and there are, brilliant guitarists out there playing guitars that cost half this money, or a third of this money. And it's like, who, me? That feeling. But there it was. I owned it, or at least the loan company owned it, I suppose you could say, but somehow I paid them off. So having that guitar made me want to grow into it. It made me a better musician. And to become a better musician, I had to believe in my musical ability more. When people said to me, "You're a good player," I learned to start saying, "Thank you," instead of, "Who, me?" because, and it took me a while, even when I was saying thank you externally, inside I was still going, who, me? Right? And if you can see, if you notice that disparity between what you think and the mask you project, if you're doing that to the law of attraction, what you're going to attract is what's really going on, the semi-conscious, the subconscious. So part of the key to the how to use the law of attraction successfully is self-awareness, and part of it is growing into the person you want to become. Now, you don't have to have a beautiful guitar, or similar thing happened to me not that long ago, about 3 years ago, when I bought my Mercedes, which was a dream car for me. I'd had a few nice cars before that, but a Mercedes was something like, I always thought, people who own Mercedes, I don't know what I thought about them really. I mean, it's not that special a car actually, but it's a very nice car. It feels like a very solid car, and it's very smooth to drive, and there's something about the sleek, chic look of a Mercedes that I just like. So the day that was a law of attraction magical story, but I'm not going to tell you that now. I've told that elsewhere. But the day that turned up, that was a real wow experience for me, and that was similar. It was like, wow, me, people who can see me from the outside are aware of a Mercedes, a silver Mercedes driving down the road. And I just, even though I didn't want it to be an ego trip, because I like to think that I'm kind of, I'm kind of aware of my ego, dealt with it to some extent, it still was nice. And it's like, okay, the thing to do with ego, I think, is not fight it. It's not an enemy. It's like, there it goes, just notice it. Okay, so that's part of it, but it's growing into it, and I think it's probably made me a better driver, and it's made me feel better about myself as well. Now, I am aware that I'm telling the story like, first I got the thing, the guitar or the car or whatever, and then I felt the growth, the personal growth into it. But you can do that the other way around as well, because you know what you desire. How will you feel? Not how will it feel. How will you feel when that's actually in your life or in your hands or whatever it is? What's that like? And start to notice the disparity when you think about it, talk about it, put something up on your dream board about it, whatever you do, however you practice attraction, because it's consistency as well. Now, I want to be careful about teaching this thing about consistency, because there's a kind of temptation to go into willpower. Oh, I'm doing it again, I must remember to do that. And it's like, you can't attract things with willpower, and you can't manipulate the universe around either. It doesn't work like that. It's just what I want you to do is notice. Just become more self-aware, self-monitoring. So when you catch yourself going off beam and kind of like, there I go again. Don't beat yourself up. Don't use an effort of will. Just gently bring yourself back and go, hang on. It feels better than that. It feels like this. Change your state. Square your shoulders. Take a deep breath. Put a big silly grin on your face, even if you don't feel like smiling. Because then you will feel like smiling when you've done it. Right? Think of the friend who makes you laugh the most. Do something that changes your state, and then bring yourself back on track. But the point is about growing into it, because worthiness is a big element in attracting. If you say, I want, I don't know, $1 million, pounds, whatever, in the bank, and right now you've got 10p or cents, all right? $1 million feels like there's such an enormous gap. But actually, it's like, what do you imagine it would, if you won the lottery today, and you actually had $1 million? By the time you go to bed tonight, there's £1 million, pounds, dollars, whatever your currency is, in your bank account. How would that feel? How would you feel about that? You know, start saying, I'm a millionaire. I really am a millionaire. Wow. And, you know, like, start bedding that in, if that's what the desire is. Start bedding that in. Gosh, wow. You know, like, when I got that guitar, I really do own an Ovation Classic. And the Mercedes, like, wow. You know, and it's that thing. You can do that. I hope that's a helpful analogy. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to stop this broadcast now, and I'll post it up on my blog. Please remember to comment below if you're watching this on the blog post. I would love your comments. I'd love to know what you think about this. Please also remember you can get my free report on how to use the law of attraction also on my blog page. Just put your name and email in the boxes. I think it's pointing that way. It's the right way when I look at the camera, but I think it might be the wrong way when you see the video. So in case it's that way, either way, there's somewhere on this page there are boxes that you can put your name and email in. And just to remind you, in case you haven't seen the previous videos, I will be launching a Law of Attraction Mastery program very soon. Very exclusive, maximum 15 people can join it. If you are interested in that, please again put your comments in the box on my blog page where this video will be posted. Okay, so let me know how that was for you. I'd love to know if that's helpful. Okay, it's Trevor Emmenden, Wizard of Wisdom. See you soon.